to launch Pepperi, which was suited much better for a wider solution for business to business, not just order taking, but all the different facets of sales, B2B sales of physical products, which is what Pepperi is doing today.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nuske. I'm your host and I am privileged to be able to bring to you today Ofer Yourvexel to the show. Welcome to the show, Ofer.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
No, it's absolutely my pleasure having you here. Now, for everybody who's on the show with us today, Ofer and I are going to be talking about an organisation that he co-founded called Pepperi, and we're going to be talking about what it takes to build a successful SaaS B2B business in a highly competitive and well-funded market using just inbound marketing. But before we do any of that, Ofer, and before we jump into the core of the call, it's standard practice for us to learn a little bit more about you as our guest. So I wonder if we can start by asking you where you're located.
Right now I am located in Israel, in Ra'anana, Israel, to be more precise, which is like 5 to 10 kilometers from Tel Aviv,
right,
north to Tel Aviv. Generally speaking, I'm spending my time, pre-COVID time, pretty much 50% in New York and 50% in Israel, which is where our R&D center is here in Israel, but we have the biggest portion of our business is in the US, so I need to spend there more time.
Of course. Now, Jana just briefly mentioned that you have offices all around the world, including Australia. Is that correct?
Yep. We have an office in Melbourne as well.
Yep.
And also an office in Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I can't wait to get into that. But before we do that, Ofer, I'd love to learn about you a little bit more in terms of, have you always lived near Tel Aviv, or have you grown up in a different location?
I grew up in Tel Aviv, not Tel Aviv, but in Israel until I was like almost 30 years old. This is when I moved to the US actually for almost 5 years. Mm-hmm. I spent like more than 2 years in the Phoenix Valley, in Tempe to be more precise, and then more than 2 years in Boston as well. Again, Brookline, not Boston, but the Boston area.
So when you were growing up, I like to, I guess, unfold the pages of time, as it were. When you were growing up, did you ever have any fond memories of your childhood? And what one would stick out for you the most, do you think?
Yeah, plenty of them. I think the majority of them are, I live near the sea.
Yep.
And the majority of them are related to the sea, like going with my father to the sea, swimming, boating. The sea is in the center of it. I really like the sea, and this is something I will always make sure I live close to.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's a point to all of this, because I think in our early years it helps us form into the people that we become. I wonder, Ofer, did you have any people in your life when you were growing up that really influenced you and helped you make good decisions along the way as you grew up?
First of all, my parents.
Yeah.
My parents, and I'm saying it might sound negative, but my meaning is exactly the opposite. We're regular people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They were my father was first generation in Israel. My mother actually was a Holocaust survivor, and they were really struggling to survive to start with, mostly on the economic side of things. They teach me, I think, what is more important in life, which is family, friends. Make sure that you're always connected to them. We have a very, very warm family. I mean, not just the direct close family, but the wider one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's mainly what you see from your family that, and I had great teachers also throughout my childhood. I remember a few of them. Actually, my password, and therefore I will not be able to say it. One of my password is the name of one of my teachers, who was really impacted me a lot in high school.
Yeah.
I really loved them. So yeah, I would say
There's been
I
a
will
few.
always cherish these people that I looked up to them when I was a child.
I really appreciate you sharing, because it really grounds the call in some, I guess, some realities, because business is business after all. And I think without that really strong base of family who are around you and support you, and, just being around the right people helps you to become the person that you are. Now, with Pepperi, I know that you must be incredibly busy. Do you have any time for hobbies or anything else outside of the business?
Sure, all the time.
Mm-hmm. What do you
I
like
cannot
doing?
live without my hobbies.
Yeah.
I mentioned the sea, so I'm kayaking a lot, like 4 or 5 times a week,
Oh, wow.
or like 2 hours each. Doing it very early in the morning. Other than that, I used to run, but in the last 6 to 7 months, I have a problem with my knee, so I cannot run. But I'm playing chess quite a lot. I like chess.
You'd be better than me at it.
I like singing. I like playing guitar. I like harmonica. I play harmonica. I used to play sax. And I have friends that I like meeting with. So yeah, although it might sound like I don't have time, I have plenty of time for those things.
Yeah,
and I'm making sure that I will keep enough time for those. Otherwise, it's like you're not living.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to mention that, Ofer, is that, we only have a very short span of time on this world, don't we? And we can't be all work and no play, can we?
Of course. It's no. I think if you work with no play, it will impact the atmosphere of what you are communicating, of how people see you, and I cannot see myself just working. I think it's a big mistake that people might be doing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Now, when have you ever had like an interest in pets or anything like that? Does your family own pets, or?
We always had a dog, not always, but most of the time, since I was a child, and also myself. 2 years ago, less, 1.5 years ago, we needed to put to sleep our dog.
Oh no!
She was really suffering.
Yeah.
And since then, I took a break. But I love dogs. I really love dogs.
Just doesn't matter what type of dog. Do you like big dogs or small dogs? Doesn't matter. Yeah.
All dogs. I think they are such an amazing creatures. It's like they were invented just for us.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing animal.
Absolutely. Thank you again for sharing. Now, I sit here and I think to myself, I wonder what Ofer's daily routine looks like. What do you do in a typical day? Let's go from the start. Do you do exercise in the morning? Do you have a particular diet? I'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
So exercise per se, I don't do. I don't like it. I never went to. To a gym or things like that.
Yep.
I feel like it's too industrial. In my opinion, I like doing things in the nature and only in the nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I mentioned before, in the past I used to like 3 times a week run, and 3 times a week kayaking, surfing, boating, things like that. Right now, in the last 2 years, it's mainly kayaking, and in the last 6 months, it's only kayaking because I cannot run.
Yes.
And this is the way I start my morning. I typically wake up at 5 in the morning. It takes me like 45 minutes to get to the beach. And then 6 in the morning, I'm already kayaking.
Wow.
Until like 8 in the morning, I'm taking a shower. eating, going back home, taking a good breakfast, typically with the family, and typically it's like healthy one. And then around 9 o'clock, I'm on my way to the office, more or less, or already on the phone with Australia. Really, my day starts after 9. Let's put it this way. I mean, my working days. Typically, I'll be, and this is the problem of managing a company with offices around the clock. So typically, I will try to communicate with Australia in the morning. Europe, I have the entire day, and then toward the evening, I typically need to, and it's spread. I might go on, do a few things, and then around 9 p.m., I need to start my day with California, with New York. I might have meetings, and I go to sleep around midnight, typically like 11 to midnight, something like that. I sleep 5 to 6 hours, and it's fine with me. I don't need more than that.
Yeah, have you found that that has changed as you get older, that you need less sleep? Because getting up at 5 is a bit of a grind for a lot of people.
No, I was always like that.
Oh, yeah.
I never slept a lot. I didn't like sleeping since I remember myself. I mean, too much. I was always...
I'd love to...
Not necessarily waking up at 5 in the morning, but always slept like 5 to 6 hours a day.
There's obviously a threshold. You need a minimum amount, don't you? But Ofer, I'd love to again go back and reveal, if we could, your first ever entrepreneurial experience. Can you remember it? Was it about newspaper routes? What was it about?
Yeah, I actually had similar things to newspaper. I was making tons of money when I was a teenage. I was working all the time as a babysitter, as selling pictures, door to door, and and gardening, things like that. I was working since I remember myself. But the real entrepreneurship one, I hardly went to school. I was always coming only to the test at the end. But the one that I would call a real entrepreneur is when I was studying engineering. I opened a company for water clearing, and actually I just imported water products from the U.S. I remember back then I also traveled to the U.S. to learn it, and I opened it while I opened the company while I was a student, ran it for 2 years, and decided that it's not for me, closed it. While doing it, I was also working as an engineer, and but the first one was opening this water company.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you again for sharing. I'm loving the call. There's just so much we can learn and so many different directions that we can go into. And I think now is a good time to start talking about Pepperi and I guess the genesis for this idea for Pepperi. What is it about for the sake of sharing it with the My Future Business audience?
So actually, Pepperi did not start as Pepperi. We started as a warranty, WRNTY. We still own the domain, and the warranty idea was not mine. And two investors approached me and talked with me whether I'm willing to take it, and I decided to take it. And back then, I joined the guy who thought about it. His name is Kfir Bar Levav, who is a very interesting person by itself, worth interviewing. And we worked together for 3-4 years, I don't recall. But bottom line, 3-4 years into this job, into this company, we realized that there is a great opportunity in the mobile area with the new iPhone, iPads. The technology was lagging behind in adopting them for businesses back then. And so we basically pivoted from the warranty idea to an order-taking idea over an iPad for field sales reps. Back then, it was a big pivot for us. We were very successful with that, but we knew that it's a very competitive market, that if we will stay with order taking, we will not survive. And we, over the year, it evolved, and actually we needed to do sort of another pivot, but under the same direction. This time only technology pivot, and not marketing and business pivot, and basically to throw out everything we developed from 2012 to 2015, and to launch Pepperi, which was suited much better for a wider solution for business to business, not just order taking, but all the different facets of sales, B2B sales of physical products, which is what Pepperi is doing today. So if I need to summarize it, it started as a warranty management solution in the cloud, moved to an order taking solution, moved to a full business to business solution.
Yeah, thank you. I sit here and I try to sit in the chair as a listener and asking the questions that I'd love to know myself. Now, if I'm a startup entrepreneur and I want to get into the SaaS space, is there room for new SaaS development still, or do you think it's becoming either saturated, or there's too many big players in the space already for new incomers to make a mark?
I think there's always space. There's always a space, and SaaS is just a vehicle. The more important, I think nowadays SaaS is a must. I find it hard to think about someone developing an application that is not SaaS based. But SaaS is just a vehicle. The more important thing is, I'll take it one step backward. Maybe in the past, SaaS was moving from on-premise to SaaS was innovative, and just doing that and competing with the on-premise solution was innovative enough in order for you to sell. Nowadays, just the fact that you're a SaaS will not help you sell, because your competitor will be SaaS as well. So you need to do something which is not just SaaS. But I would put it this way: SaaS nowadays in software, I would say it's a must, but it's not enough.
It's just not enough.
If I'll take it into mathematical equations, then it's must, but it's not enough.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I wonder, I've seen that you have a number of different elements to Pepperi. What sort of verticals are you into? And if you could, just explain what verticals mean as they apply to Pepperi.
Yeah, so Pepperi can sell to any company that is selling products, but to start with, we are focusing on specific verticals that we think that have better potential for us. And vertical means we can take it from the business perspective. It means that it's customers, from my perspective, that share the same that are in a sense competing with each other, that they are in the same ecosystem, that they share the same goals to sell the same type of products in our case, and therefore typically they will have the same marketing communication channels, they will be listening to the same things, they will be struggling with the same issues. So if I'll take it to examples, which is always, I think, the best way to explain, then if we take the fashion vertical versus the food vertical, both might be selling products, physical products, to consumer, either direct or indirect. But the difference is in fashion, you are developing new products every quarter, more or less, most of the fashion companies, as seasons are changing. And then once the season passed, those products will no longer be relevant and you'll need to get rid of them. So the sales cycle and the life cycle of the product is so different than the food, where you are selling the same product for years and you simply replenish them all the time. That typically will not expire. I'm talking in a practical manner. Of course, there are food products that have expiration date, but the one that replace them are the same product. It's not like the expiration in fashion.
Yeah.
So, and those things that I described, those differences are imposing dramatically different sales processes. While in the first one, the fashion, the slow moving, you have sales processes that are longer, that are very specific to the product, and much less logistic ones. On the fast moving, the logistic part of it is very critical, and the cost is much more relevant. Efficiency is way more relevant. Margins are much smaller.
Yep.
All those things are dictating different things. And then when we look on the customer of those vertical, typically the IT manager, the salespeople of a fashion company will be reading and looking for things that are completely professional-wise, that are completely different than executives in the food business. Exactly from the reason I mentioned before.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great insight. Now, everything's not always roses in business, is it? What have you learned from failure over the years?
You learn, unfortunately, you learn from failure the more than you learn from any other things.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you feel it and you see the implication. And then the way you say it, obviously, is you need to be stupid to do the same thing again and again if it brought you. So failure is a good lesson, but the important thing is really to admit that you failed, to realize that you made a mistake, and to think about what is the best way forward, as opposed to stick to it and continuing the same route you started, and just because you cannot admit that you made a mistake.
Yep.
And or that you're afraid of the implication of making the change. As I described before, we made significant changes in Pepperi strategy in the last, since we established the company. I think without those changes, Pepperi will not be surviving, so.
Yeah.
And we made more tactical mistakes and strategic mistakes along the way that we needed to fix. This is the way you grow and learn.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, I think about expanding that conversation about taking ownership and responsibility, and I, having been a former corporate myself, I put a lot of emphasis on team building, trust and empowerment and responsibility, all these things, all these words that you can put around these things. How important is it in your business to have an empowered team that you trust?
The most important thing. And within that, I would say the most important thing, in my opinion, is that you should not talk. You should set examples in the way you do things. Talking is cheap. You need to set an example to the values that you are holding. People that are around you should see that. And then, so if we're talking about team building, you really need to listen to people, give them the stage to do what they are best at, and really be open even to hear things that are completely against your way of thinking.
Yep.
And not stop them, and really listen to them and allow others to listen to them. And if you think they are wrong, you need to explain why they are wrong, and not simply dismiss them because you are more important or because you are the CEO. You really need to let everyone, give everyone their stage, and then empower them to do things in their way and not in your way.
Yeah. Would you hire somebody who is more excited and passionate about the potential to come into Pepperi than somebody who is competent and has a background in qualifications that obviously fulfill that need for that role? What's more important for you, do you think?
A decision like that is typically based on many other things. So it depends on the magnitude of those two things that you mentioned. So for example, if he's completely disqualified to the job and he's very excited, still I will not hire him. Generally speaking, taking it in the direction that I believe you were trying to take it, I prefer personality or knowledge. I think personality is way more important than than knowledge / experience. If this is your question,
that's exactly my question.
Yeah, in that respect, yes, but not necessarily enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm is not enough for me. Personality is enough for me, for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I know that you have 2 other co-founders, is that correct?
3, actually.
3? Okay. So what was it like, what is it like being a co-founder with so many other co-founders? Is that very different than starting your own organization and being the head of the ship, as it were, on your own? What are some of the challenges that come with that?
I don't think it's challenging. I think it's only positive, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it as a challenge. It's really complemented all those areas that you cannot excel in everything you do. And these other 3 co-founders, that all of them are working with me, they really complement things that are way better than I am in doing those things. I will not be able to reach what we have reached without them. I seriously never had a challenge with it. Even when they were challenging me, it was good. This is the whole idea.
Yeah, fantastic. I love it because you can always learn things from those who are around you. Do you believe in being the not the smartest person in the room?
100%. They're smarter than me, and I'm not saying it just in order to say it.
Yeah.
They're smarter than me. All 3 of them are smarter than me.
Fantastic. Now, I'd love to talk about your inbound marketing and the process behind that, because we have a lot of startup entrepreneurs and small to medium-sized businesses who are looking to interviews like this to learn a little bit, to take away some ideas. Now, how do you do inbound marketing, and maybe briefly explain what inbound marketing means to you?
Yeah, inbound marketing means to me that we are not chasing people that are not interested, that we are focusing our resources on people that are interested, which makes a huge difference in productivity and also in the atmosphere. When you need to chase someone who really doesn't want to speak with you, I think it's create a bad atmosphere.
Time wasting.
And time wasting, yeah, for sure. I say efficiency for sure, but think about the feeling of chasing someone who is not interested. So for me, inbound means that the organization is focusing on people that really wants to talk with us. And this is really the definition for me. Mm-hmm. Our salespeople are not calling, and we do not have SDR. The only prospect they will be calling to are prospect that in one way or another contacted us and asked to be called.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will not be calling them. It's way more efficient, but obviously you need to know how to do it, because if you'll just sit in the room and wait for people to call you, it will not happen, even if you have the best product in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, over more than a decade now has Pepperi been running? How long has it been?
Over 11 years.
Yeah, wow. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that in terms of innovation. What have you seen over that decade or so, and what is sticking out for you now in terms of innovation?
Yeah, I think connecting innovation with the amount of time that Pepperi is trying to connect between the two, if I understand your question.
Yep.
Then when you're starting, innovation is in the center of everything. Mm-hmm. And you only need to be innovative to start with. The bigger you become, then innovation is a must, as I said before about other things. So innovation is a must, but it's not enough any longer. It won't help you if you'll be innovative, but your customer on one area, but your customer are suffering, from a different area, from instability, from the way you do for bad support, and all those other must-have that can really ruin your business, although you are extremely innovative. And the bigger you are, you need to put more emphasis on on the operational aspect of your business and not just on innovation. And I think this is a transition that is, and this is maybe part of the fun, that things are constantly changing. It's no longer the same challenges that we had at the beginning that we are facing now.
Yeah.
But innovation is always extremely important, and more than in any other area, maybe in technology, and we are a technology company before anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, this is an absolute credit to you and your team. Pepperi is obviously a wonderful platform for B2B, and leading to that is the obvious question. Now, when people want to find Pepperi and they want to connect with you and they want to work out if they're a good fit for Pepperi, what is the process and where will they find you?
Like any other company, you can find Pepperi.com, and there you can find examples of customers, because we didn't mention it before. We have customers in like 70 countries around the world, not just the US that we mentioned before. So they can find case study. They can go into our customers area and see, customers like Kimberly-Clark, like Dermalogica. I hope these names
some big
ring a
companies
bell.
there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That are using our platform, Kune in the air business, and so on and so forth. We have over 1,000 customers worldwide. They can find their customers and case studies and see whether it's relevant for them as well.
So the application process is fairly simple. If I'm an interested business, and do I just sign up and away I go? What's the actual onboarding process?
It used to be like this in the past. As we started to serve larger customers, it's no longer like a free trial. It used to be like that.
Yep.
However, if you're a small customer, then we typically assign you with one. When I say small, I mean a company which is less than 10 million.
Yep.
Generally speaking, typically we will assign you to a partner of ours. We have partners all over the world that can serve you. If you are larger than that, then still you might be served by, and those partners will simplify the process for the customers. Bear in mind that in order to implement Pepperi, you need to connect Pepperi to your back office systems, to your ERP accounting system, and this is what makes it a bit more complicated than a simple SaaS product that you just activate and that's it.
Understood.
Because it really must be fully synchronized with your product data and with your pricing data and promotions data and all those things that we are not a standalone, and which makes it a bit more complicated to implement Pepperi.
Yeah.
But we have both partners and internal resources to help you in the process.
Fantastic. Well, look, Ofer, this has been such a wonderful call. I'm going to make sure that no matter where people find this call, they're going to find the link back to Pepperi.com. And I've had a wonderful time on the call with you today. Thank you so very much for joining me on the My Future Business show today.
Thank you very, very much. It was a real pleasure. Great questions.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.